I remember the exact moment my world shattered, the cold steel of the handcuffs snapping around my wrists in the glow of the NYPD cruiser lights. My brother's voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. "Marley, you idiot. You brought this on yourself." But it wasn't theft. It wasn't embezzlement. It was him. My own flesh and blood. Ethan, planting the digital breadcrumbs that led the feds straight to my desk at Vanguard Capital. And as they dragged me away, his eyes, those same eyes that used to light up over backyard barbecues in our Jersey suburb, held no remorse. Just the smug glint of a man who'd finally stepped out of my shadow. That night in the holding cell, staring at the graffiti-scratched walls, I pieced it together. Ethan had always been the golden boy, the one Dad pinned his retirement dreams on, while I hustled through night classes at Rutgers to claw my way up the finance ladder. He got the corner office at Vanguard by schmoozing golf buddies. I earned mine crunching numbers until my eyes bled. But jealousy festers, doesn't it? Turns brotherly ribbing into something poisonous. He framed me for skimming client funds, millions from the Henderson Group, our biggest whale. By morning, the headline screamed, "Vanguard VP nabbed in multi-million fraud scheme." My career? Vaporized. My fiancée, Sarah? She bailed faster than a bad trade, citing irreconcilable trust issues over a glass of Chardonnay at some overpriced Soho spot. The trial was a circus. Ethan's testimony sealed it. My brother was always reckless. Your Honor. Gambling debts. Late nights, it's no surprise. Lies. All of it. I rotted in Rikers for 18 months. Appeals denied. Appeals bought off by the same slimy lawyers Ethan now called friends. Released on a technicality, some chain of custody bullshit with the server logs. I came out a ghost. No job. No network. Just a cardboard box of belongings and a one-way ticket to oblivion. That's when the despair hit like a freight train. Driving south on I-95 toward nothing, rain slicking the windshield. I swerved into the median. Lights out. Blackness. And, in that void, the last thought, if I could do it over, I'd bury him first. Then, the jolt. Not pain, but a gasp like surfacing from a nightmare dive. My eyes snapped open to fluorescent hum and the familiar squeak of my ergonomic chair. The date on my computer screen, March 15th, 2023. 6 months before the raid. My hands, younger, unscarred, gripped the desk. Heart pounding, I bolted to the bathroom mirror. Same face. Same 5 o'clock shadow. But the lines of prison weren't etched yet. Holy shit. I'd done it. Reborn.
重生,
as my Vietnamese grandma would have called it, though she'd spin it with ghosts and karma. Me? I called it a second chance. Loaded and aimed right at Ethan's lying heart. I didn't scream. Didn't call a priest or hit up a therapist.
No.
I laughed a low, bitter chuckle that echoed off the marble tiles of Vanguard's 52nd floor John. This was Manhattan, baby, concrete canyons, where second chances came with interest rates. I splashed water on my face, straightened my tie Armani, slim fit, the one Sarah picked out before she became just a friend, and strode back to my office like nothing had happened. But everything had. I knew the script now. Ethan's play, he'd start whispering to HR about my erratic behavior, forge those email trails linking me to offshore accounts, and tip off the feds anonymously. By September, I'd be in cuffs, and he'd be promoted to my spot, with a fat bonus and the Henderson Group's undying gratitude. First move, reconnaissance. I couldn't just confront him. That'd tip my hand. And who'd believe a crazy brother anyway?
Nah.
I needed proof. Slipping into the IT closet after hours, badge still worked. Perks of being VP, I jacked into the network with a USB drive loaded with a simple script I'd remembered from my post-prison hacking phase. Turns out, desperation teaches you Kali Linux like it's Sunday school. Within minutes, I had backups of Ethan's hard drive mirrored to a burner cloud account. Jackpot. Encrypted folders labeled contingencies. Password? His dog's birthday, Buddy. The golden retriever Dad got him for high school graduation. Inside, drafts of those incriminating emails, timestamps predating my crimes, and, oh, sweet Jesus, a ledger of kickbacks from a shady prop firm. Ethan wasn't just framing me, he was laundering for the mob-light crowd in Brighton Beach. But knowledge is a double-edged sword. As I deleted the mirror and slipped out into the humid July night, Times Square's neon assaulting my eyes, doubt crept in. Ethan was still my brother. The one who'd covered for me when I snuck out to that Metallica concert at 16. The one who cried at Mom's funeral. Was this rebirth a gift or a curse? To unravel the only family I had left? Screw it. He'd chosen the boardroom over blood.
Now.
I'd choose survival. Back in my Murray Hill walk-up, pre-prison rent, thank God, I paced the studio, plotting. Step 1. Insulate myself. I started documenting everything legit, every meeting, every trade, with timestamps and witnesses. Step 2. Build an exit ramp. I'd always eyed the Henderson Group. They were Vanguard's cash cow. A mid-sized hedge fund with aggressive plays in tech and renewables. Their CEO, Harlan Whitaker, was a grizzled vet from the '08 crash, the kind who valued loyalty over flash. I'd pitched him once, pre-betrayal, on a risk model that could have saved them millions. Now, I'd make it personal. The next week, I requested a transfer to the client relations team, framed it as broadening my skill set to my boss, who nodded like it was no big deal. Ethan shot me a side-eye over coffee in the break room. Client schmoozing? That's beneath you.
Bro.
Stick to the spreadsheets. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I mirrored it. Clinking mugs.
Nah.
Time to network. You know, like you taught me. He chuckled. But I saw the flicker, uncertainty.
Good.
Nights blurred into a frenzy.
By day.
I charmed Harlan at a networking mixer in the village, single malt scotch. Stories of my innovative models. By night, I cold called headhunters, polished my LinkedIn to surgical shine, and buried myself in CFA mocks. But the real edge? I reached out to Sarah. Not for love, God. No, but as an ally. We met at that same Soho bistro. Her in a sundress that hit like a memory. Marley, you look driven. I laid it out. Vague on the intuition, but clear on the storm coming. If shit hits, I need someone in my corner. She hesitated, then nodded. For old times, trust. Fragile as it was. Rebuilt. Word count check, creeping toward 1,000. But the hooks were set, the noose tightening. Little did I know, Ethan's contingencies had contingencies of their own. As August heat baked the city, I landed the Henderson pitch. Harlan's email, intriguing. Let's talk brass tacks. My heart raced, not from nerves, but anticipation. This was it. The pivot. While Ethan schemed in shadows, I'd step into the light. And when the feds came knocking, I'd be the one handing them his playbook. But revenge isn't clean. That night, staring at the Brooklyn Bridge for my fire escape, I wondered, would flipping the tables crush him? Or me? Harlan Whitaker wasn't the type for small talk. Our first real sit-down was in his corner office overlooking the Hudson, glass walls. Abstract art that screamed, "I survived Lehman Brothers," and he cut straight to it. "Your model predicts a 22% uptick in EV battery yields." Bullshit or brilliance? I leaned in. No notes. Just the fire from 2 lifetimes. Brilliance. With a hedge.
C.
The supply chain's fracturing, lithium tariffs from the new admin. But if we pivot to sodium-ion prototypes. 90 minutes later.
He was sold.
You're wasted at Vanguard.
Kid.
Ever thought of jumping ship? Thought about it? I'd scripted it. Funny you mention. I've got ideas that don't fit their box. We shook on a consultant gig, 6 figures. Remote, and by October, it evolved into a full-time offer. But here's the controversial bit. I didn't quit clean. No 2 weeks notice. No heartfelt email. I timed my resignation for the Friday before the Henderson board vote, attaching a confidential memo outlining Vanguard's internal risks, vague enough to spook, specific enough to point fingers. Ethan's fingers. The fallout was biblical. Monday morning, my phone exploded. Sarah texting WTF. Marley, you're trending on FinTwit. Vanguard stock dipped 3% on rumors of executive poaching and compliance flags. Ethan called from the office. Voice like gravel. What the hell did you do? Harlan's pulling meetings. I sip my coffee black. Diner brew from the corner spot, feigning shock. Beats me?
Bro.
Just chasing opportunity. You okay? Silence. Then a hiss. This isn't over.
Click.
I smiled. It had barely begun. Landing at Henderson as strategic advisor felt like slipping into tailored revenge. The office was a far cry from Vanguard's sterile hive. Open plan with ping-pong tables. Baristas on payroll. A vibe that screamed Silicon Alley meets Wall Street. Harlan fast-tracked me to the C-suite pipeline, citing my instincts. But power's addictive, and I started bending rules. First gray area, insider whispers. I leaked carefully, through anonymous FinTwit burners, tips on Vanguard's weak spots. Driving clients to Henderson. Ethical? Hell no. But in the Game of Thrones that is American finance, it's eat or be eaten. And Ethan had feasted on me once. He retaliated. Of course. Subtle at first, bad-mouthing me to mutual contacts, spinning my jump as disloyalty, then bolder. A PI tailed me one rainy Tuesday, amateur. Sloppy raincoat in a sea of umbrellas. I lost him in the subway, then doxed his plate through a shady app. Belonged to a firm Ethan used for vetting.
Q.
But the real gut punch came mid-November. Sarah called, voice trembling. Marley?
He's
reaching out. Saying you're unstable. That the prison thing, wait. Prison? That hadn't happened yet. My blood iced. He'd accelerated the frame job, pulling strings to plant evidence early. A quick dive into my old cloud mirror confirmed it. Fresh emails, dated last week. Marley authorizing transfers to Cayman shells. Panic clawed, but rebirth sharpened my edge. I didn't run, I doubled down. Confronting Ethan head-on would have been suicide. He'd gaslight, play the victim brother. Instead, I went nuclear. Anonymous tip to the SEC. Routing through a VPN in Toronto. Attached, screenshots of his ledger. redacted just enough to hook, and without burning my source. By week's end, Vanguard was under audit. Ethan texted, "We need to talk." "Family," I replied. "Family? Since when?" "We met at our old Jersey diner, Formica counters, grease thick in the air. The kind of place where secrets stick like syrup." He slid into the booth. Tie loose. Eyes hollow. "Marley, whatever you're thinking, stop. This is bigger than us." I stirred my coffee.
Slow.
"Bigger like your Brighton Beach buddies? Or the kickbacks funding that Tribeca loft?" His face strained. "How?" I leaned in. "I know things."
Ethan.
"Things you buried." He stammered. The golden boy cracking. "It was for Dad's medical bills. After the chemo. You were too busy climbing to notice."
Lie.
Mom's cancer had been 5 years back. Dad was golfing in Florida. But the plea tugged. Old loyalties dying hard. That's when the controversy peaked. Do I expose him fully? Watch him crumble like I did? Or cut a deal? Preserve the blood tie? I chose the gray, leaked just enough to the feds to freeze his assets, but held the mob ledger as leverage. "Step down from Vanguard," I said. Quietly. "Or the whole enchilada drops." He nodded.
Defeated.
"You're not the brother I knew. Neither are you." Flush with leverage, I pushed for the CEO spot at Henderson. Harlan was retiring, prostate scare, bad timing, and the board eyed me. Young, proven, with a track record that screamed disruptor. But whispers followed. Vanguard defector. Sketchy. To seal it, I made the call that'd haunt me. Pulled strings, old prison contacts. The kind you don't brag about, to intimidate a board holdout. A crusty VC named Lowell. Nothing violent. Just a late-night call hinting at reviewed irregularities in his portfolio. He folded. By December, I was anointed. Marley Hayes.
CEO.
Press release hit like a bomb. Henderson Group welcomes visionary leader from Vanguard ranks. Ethan vanished after that. Radio silence. House in Jersey dark. Sarah moved in.
Tentative.
Our old spark flickering over takeout tie. "You're different," she said one night. Tracing my scars, the new ones, from gym obsessions. Harder. I pulled her close. Survival does that. But in quiet moments, doubt gnawed. Was this triumph or tragedy? Flipping tables felt good. But the splinters cut deep. Christmas Eve. Snow dusting the city, like powdered sugar on regret. My assistant buzzed. "Sir? Urgent call." SEC on line 1. Heart slamming. I picked up. "Mr. Hayes, we've got questions about your associations."
Shit.
Ethan's parting gift? Or my own hubris? The SEC call wasn't a raid. It was a courtesy. Or so they framed it. Routine inquiry. "Mr.
Hayes.
Your name surfaced in a Vanguard probe.
Any.
Overlapping interests." My mind raced. Ethan's ledger. My tips. The PI shadows. I'd been careful. But in DC's web, threads tangle. "Happy to cooperate," I lied. Voice steady as a Dow close. "Send the subpoena. I'll have counsel review." Hanging up. I poured a scotch, neat. Macallan 18. The bottle Sarah gifted pre-betrayal. One lifetime down. And I'd learned. Feds don't bluff. This was Ethan's counterpunch. I lawyered up fast. Ruth Abrams, a shark from my imagined post-prison Rolodex. All Brooklyn bite and Ivy polish. "You've got deniability," she said over Zoom. files splayed like a poker hand. But that boardroom nudge on Lowell?
Sloppy.
Retractable. I hedged. Controversial decisions echo, don't they? Exposing Lowell would have tanked my CEO bid. Now, it was a noose. Handle it, I told her. And dig on Ethan. Full court. While Ruth worked angles, I steered Henderson through turbulence. Q4 earnings loomed, and Vanguard, bleeding clients, tried to smear op-eds in the journal painting me as the poacher who cried wolf. I countered with transparency, town halls, a viral TED-style talk on ethical disruption in fintech. The board ate it up. Stock climbed 15%. But nights were war rooms. Sarah saw the toll, bags under my eyes. Scotch becoming habit. This revenge. It's consuming you, she whispered one dawn. City sirens wailing below. Is it worth it? I kissed her forehead. It is if it ends right. Ruth's intel dropped like a grenade. Ethan hadn't fled. He'd holed up in a Queens motel, wiring funds to Mom?
Wait.
Mom was dead. Dig deeper. A hospice in Philly. Brain cancer. Stage 4. Diagnosed months back. Hidden from me. The ledger? Not just greed, payments to experimental trials. Black market drugs Dad's insurance wouldn't touch. Ethan's kickbacks funded her fight, and when she stabilized, miracle remission, he kept the pipeline open for leverage. My frame job, collateral in his desperation play, promote him to access Vanguard's slush fund for more treatments. But the mob ties? Real. A favor called in, spiraling out of control. Twist hit like whiplash. My scheming brother wasn't a monster, just a cornered one. Choices as gray as mine. Rage curdled to pity, then resolve. I drove to Queens that night. Wipers battling sleet. Heart a storm. The motel was a dive. Neon vacancy flickering over chain link. Ethan answered shirtless. Gaunt. Chemo's cruel etch. Not the boardroom polish. Marley. No fight. Just exhaustion. We talked till dawn. Rain drumming the roof like accusations. He confessed everything. The frame to protect the family secret. The audit says payback. I didn't want you hurt.
Just.
Sidelined. Bullshit, but laced with truth. Mom's remission? Bought with blood money. And the SEC? His anonymous nudge. Trading my dirt for immunity. They'll bury you unless I flipped. Testify against him.
Clean my slate.
The climax brewed in that fluorescent hell. Brother versus brother. Not in cuffs, but choices. I could destroy him, leak the full ledger. Watch him rot while I sailed to Henderson glory. Controversial? Expose the family lie. Let Mom's miracle crumble publicly. Or mercy. Cut a deal. Both walk scarred but breathing. But rebirth whisper darker. I died once for his sins. Now. Live for mine? Dawn broke gray as I decided. One condition, I said. We go public. Together. Mom's story, the real one. No more shadows. He blinked. Tears cutting tracks. Why? Because family's the only table worth flipping. The press conference was electric. Henderson HQ. Cameras flashing like paparazzi at a scandal. Me at the podium. Ethan beside, thinner, but standing. I laid it bare. The betrayal. The frame. The hidden fight for Mom. Finance isn't just numbers, it's lives. We failed each other, but we're rebuilding. Gasps. Then applause. SEC backed off. My testimony sealed Ethan's lesser plea. Probation. Restitution. Vanguard imploded. Henderson soared, absorbing their scraps. Twist's tail, Mom, frail but fierce, flew in from Philly. My boys, she rasped, hugging us in the green room. Turns out, her remission held. Ethan's gambit worked. At a cost. Sarah?
She stayed.
Our bond forged in fire. Wedding bells by spring. A Jersey backyard affair. Was it happy?
Hell yes.
American style. Redemption with a side of grit. No fairy tale, but real, scars and all. As CEO, I greenlit ethical audits, mentored second chancers from the system. Ethan, consultant gig at a nonprofit,
Paying forward.
and me, Marley Hayes, reborn not to bury, but to build. Tables flipped, but the game's still on. In Manhattan, that's just Tuesday. Epilogue whisper, that 95 swerve, not despair. A cosmic nudge. Grandma's karma. Maybe. Either way, I grabbed the wheel.